This is the day where we have 80 jerseys that blend into one blue river. One blue river that flows constantly. The end of the river, the empty end of the sea as one. That's how we roll.
Sing it for us, Sarah.
Hooray for us!
Hello, Coach Walsh. How are you?
I'm doing well. Yeah, welcome back.
Welcome back. Season 4 of the Sarah High School Football Podcast. I'm so honored to be here with you today. Thank you.
Yep, new venue.
Yep.
I love it.
That's great. Wonderful. Well, I feel like it's been so long. We had our nice, we had the spring ball and showcase. That was awesome. We haven't talked since.
Right.
I have no idea what this team's in for this season. So why don't you just let us know just a little bit about this team and how, fall camp went and everything.
Yeah, we had our parent dinner last night. We have it every year. It's great. The Hinsdales hosted it. It was a great time to get together and talk to the parents. And one of the questions I always get from parents and everyone else is, "Hey, how are you guys going to be this year?" And I have just a great 3-word answer. It sums everything up, and I think the audience can understand this. Is I don't know. That's it.
not till game time. Really?
I don't know. Yeah,
right?
It's literally the exact opposite of last year in terms of what you can project and what I could see and all that stuff. And, with 18 starters leaving and
22 seniors, right?
Yep,
18 starters.
That's right. A lot of starters. And that's it puts us in a totally unique situation that it's really foreign to us, to be honest with you, because in this last kind of 10-year run, we've always had this nice mix of, seniors leaving, juniors already there, leading the team and that sort of stuff. So when you have a totally unique and special year like last year, a lot of things fall into place. And one of which was the fact that we literally worked with that class pretty much from freshman year all the way through because of that weirdness of 2020. Right. So they were literally with us the entire time. So that was the culmination. Last year was the culmination of that situation. And now we're in a brand new territory, which is fun. It brings about some anxiety. It brings about some, I don't know what to expect. No one knows what to expect. The kids don't know what to expect.
Right.
So, but that's why we're going to kick the ball off at Folsom on 7:30 on Friday. And we're going to see what happens.
See what happens.
Yeah,
right. We'll have much more to talk about next week.
Yeah.
So in your experience now, you're in your 24th year, 2024, 24 years. That's kind of cool.
That's easy.
So have you had teams like this? You had so much success in the last 3 years, and then now you have a very skilled team, but a very young team. Have you had this before? And what are your strategies to try to get them up to speed?
Well, what I love is that while we lost a lot of players to graduation, we lost 0 coaches to graduation.
Right.
Or leaving, or whatever you want to call it. So it is, so as many things are different, the core of what we do is the same. The philosophies are the same. The coaches' efforts the same. And I was, we're coaching really, really hard this year. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed was we're not coaching any harder this year than we did last year. And I respect that so much from these guys.
That's wonderful.
Because if you're ever going to take a kind of let's take a step back and enjoy the year type thing, it would have been last year.
Right.
Right. With
Undefeated
4-year
season.
guys and all this crazy stuff but we haven't seen that. I didn't see that last year and I didn't see that this year. So the effort from the coaching staff and how we're doing things and how we're dealing with the team is the exact same.
Great.
Now, one of the things that was different was that we did morning workouts this year. We're getting a brand new baseball field. And as you can see, this beautiful field back here it was going to be a little bit claustrophobic if we all went after, 3:00, which we usually do. So we were waking up at 5 a.m. and getting here early and building in some toughness that way. So that's the first time we've done what we call dawn patrol in many years. I used to do dawn patrol before kids.
Oh, really?
And then we had kids. I'm like, I've been awake all night. So,
right.
So that's good. And for me, when it comes to what we do as a program, we have 3 core values that'll never change: love, brotherhood, and humility. And that's the recipe for how we build our programs. The players, how they adapt to it, how that really comes to fruition is still on the table. But then when it comes to football, there's 2 major things that we emphasize here at Sarah, and that's being tough and being organized. I've said that before, a tough organization. And when people watch Sarah play, whether we win or lose, I would love for them to say, wow, those kids are really tough.
Right.
And man, they seem to be really organized. So having 11 players on the field, not 12 or 10, that's organization.
Right. And nothing makes you more mad than that.
Oh my God. Yeah. And
we've done podcasts on that.
Yes. And there's horror stories that you see, that team blocks a field goal, but they have 12 on the field, and just terrible stuff. And I don't really want to be a part of that, but it can happen. Of course, it can happen. So if we can meet those two objectives on the field, being tough and being organized with a very experienced team like last year and a very inexperienced team like this year, we can all live with ourselves. That's what I'm looking for, Friday night, and hopefully on an upward trajectory through December.
Through December, yep, that's great. Yeah, because our preseason is very difficult.
Yes.
3 very challenging teams. We have Folsom, then we have 1 week later we have De La Salle at De La Salle, and then we have we welcome Bosco here.
Yeah.
So it's really going to be tough. Do you have how are the boys feeling about just? I mean, those are big names, big teams. I was watching some highlights from. I think I told you, and I was a little overwhelmed by their skill.
Yeah, we're. And I would say that the other thing too is I would say overall with the schedule and even in the WCIL, it seems like everybody's up. It seems like everybody's up, right? So I know St. Francis has a ton of returners. Reardon's loaded with talent. St. Ignatius is up. Valley Christian's going to be better. Sacred Heart Cathedral is going to be better than last year. So everything just kind of seems to be in that perfect storm, if you will. That's going to be the perfect challenge for us.
Definitely.
Not something we're going to shy away from, obviously, but when you look at Ryder Lyons, number 3 from Folsom, we have played a 4-star quarterback. It's Jaden Daniels at Cajon, who's now in the NFL, won the Heisman Trophy. So we've had experience against someone of that caliber, but I wouldn't be surprised if this guy wins the Heisman and plays in the NFL.
He looks pretty impressive.
He is really, really talented. And Coach Doherty and Coach Peterson, 2 of my dear friends up there in Folsom, they do an awesome job. They are a community-based program. They are tough and organized. They are.
And they always have been. I mean, when we played them, it's always a really good game, no matter what strength we have had in our team as well, right?
That's right.
That's great. And so I think last year we really had a defense-driven team. I hear that the offense is pretty impressive on this team. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, if we have some returners, some returners are on the offensive line. Louis Akpa has got a lot of kind of national attention in recruiting.
Right.
He's a big physical, athletic tackle, which is great. And he didn't start every game last year, but played quite a bit. Eli Shamia is starting at guard. He played every single rep last year on the offensive line, so it's nice to have him back. Jonah Alapati, who's one of our captains,
of course.
And Louis and Jonah, which is a rare thing to have offensive linemen as captains.
That's awesome.
Which is really cool. It's nice to have the blue collar guys get voted for captains here. So, and Jonah is our center. He played every single game last year. We got a couple new guys on the left side of the line. Robert Wolfgram will probably be starting for us at the left guard position.
Nice.
But he was on the team last year. And then Jay Leader, who's a senior, he started every game on defense last year, and we've moved him over to left tackle. So
interesting.
Yeah. So while he wasn't a starter on offense, he was a starter on defense. And then we have, Nanulatu and Chris Yoon. We have a couple really good backs. Isaiah Singleton's a junior. Gio Henley's a sophomore. I mean, we have a very deep backfield. I think Clay Hinsdale has done an awesome job at tight end. We got Charlie Willie at receiver, who got some reps last year. He's coming back.
Right.
So we have some things going on. Yeah. Now everyone wants to know who's the quarterback, right? That's the question for.
It's going to be my next question.
I know. I'm reading your mind here, Amy. I mean, the bottom line is this game is quarterback driven. It's like if you look at the Niners, like Brock Purdy, we're looking, we got a chance, right? So this year we have an inexperienced quarterback for the first time in many years, I would say, and that's Andrew Hennigan has emerged as a starter. He's a senior.
And he's also our Padre.
He's our Padre, which for those of you that don't know is our voted on spirit leader at Sarah High School. And that means so much to me.
That's really cool.
A guy that wants to be like leading the cheers and he's all about Sarah.
Yep.
Win or lose, I can get down with that.
Yep.
Right. A guy who loves Sarah so much, he went through the process and got voted in by his peers to represent the spirit of the entire school. That's beautiful.
That is really cool.
And that's something that we can plug into. And he is that way. I remember he told me a story when he was in 8th grade, he came to a night game or something like that. And in his mind, he said, by senior year, I'm going to be the starting quarterback at this school.
Oh, that's amazing. What a great story.
Yeah. I was
so
like,
great.
I didn't know that. And he told me that like a month ago. And I go, that's good. So look, the recipe, the ingredients, the desire the talent, like what he wants to do, what he wants to bring to the table, is very, very good start. Now he's uniquely unexperienced, and he's going against a great team on Friday night. And again, in terms of ramping up, you know, we're okay struggling early. Like that's okay. We don't.
Right.
We're not stacking our schedule so we can get wins and have some stupid stuff.
Right.
Like we are looking to improve. So, like I said, as a team, I just want to see him improve each week. You can't expect him to go 20 for 20 and, you know, throw for 400 yards against Folsom. That may or may not happen.
Right.
And if it doesn't, what did we learn? How are we going to get better? And that's kind of the collective thing from the team.
Yeah, and I think you've mentioned that before too. I mean, there's so many great lessons that can come from losing a football game and winning a football game. You know, what I mean, there's a lot to take, and a lot of team growth too. I mean, you've talked about that a lot. Is how do these boys come together as a team, and how do they, you know, experience, you know, the tough games together and all that good stuff.
100%, and that is. You know, that'll be tested this year. I mean, it's easy to say, oh, you guys are so together and you love each other and, you know, you're 10-0, you're beating everybody. And like, that's so, you know, maybe that won't happen this year, and then that'll really be tested. It's easy to have like a really positive environment when the scoreboard's on your side.
Sure.
But, what I love about Sarah, it's always kind of been that way, whether the scoreboard's been on our side or not. Even I remember the last time we got absolutely smoked by St. Francis. It was very hard, but we were together. We were the Padres, and it actually felt good to kind of feel that angst and that pain and be like, all right, where are we going to go, guys?
Right. Well, it changed. I remember that season. Actually, it was like 2 seasons ago, right? And it really changed the rest of the season for the boys. I remember it was a really big turning point. For them. So that's great. Yeah. So let's talk about captains for a minute. We quickly brought up a couple, but
Louis and Jonah on offense, and we have 4 this year. Last year we had a captain's council because we vote here at Sarah on our captains. We don't. We don't. The coaches don't pick it, but we literally do just a straight democratic vote. There's 93 kids on this team, which is the biggest team we've ever had.
Wow, that's a lot.
And when I said, hey, everyone needs to vote, like 60 kids voted. And I'm like, all right, now I'm going to be the dictator. You have to vote.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to say who's going to be the captain, but you have to vote. And if I don't get 93 votes in by tomorrow, we're running all day. So we had 93 people vote. Fear's a great motivator sometimes. So we had 93 votes, and it was very, very clear that we had many kids, over 20 kids got votes.
Oh, nice.
But 4 really emerged from the top, and it was Louis and Jonah on offense. And it just came out this way. And then Teddy Chung, clearly he's a 3-year starter, amazing human being. You know, smart, tough.
He's got it all.
He's got everything that and the most experience of anyone on the team, right? Because he's been a 3-year starter.
Yes.
And then Tommy Miller.
Great.
Who's one of those kind of quintessential, overachieving, you know, hardworking, just loves Sarah. He's the type of guy that you want leading the team as well. So those are our 4 captains for this year.
Great. And can you just briefly tell for anyone who doesn't know what's a captain's job? What's the role?
Yeah, that's a great question. So captains for us they're like a step below the coaching staff. And so when I'm mad at the team, I'm mad at the captains. So if anything's going wrong from my perspective, I go to the captains and I say, you guys need to fix this. This is on you. And we give them a little bit more responsibility, a little bit of ownership. Now, the inverse is also true. If the kids are mad at us, or mad at there's something wrong with the culture, or they have suggestions, then the kids go through the captains. The captains, as a representative of the entire 93-man roster, they then say, hey, Coach Walsh, we're thinking about something like this. What do you think? So it's just great. It's kind of a layer in there where they get ownership and the kids feel like they have someone to go to. Because it's not easy all the time for a high school kid to go directly to their position coach, Coach Thomas or someone, but if they can always go to their captains.
That's great. I mean, especially with 93 boys on the team. That's tough. Yeah. Well, good. That's great. And so overall, like, I guess you want to talk at all about the team at all?
Yeah, sure.
Specifics?
Yeah.
I mean, why don't you just tell us kind of like what your assessment is of, how you're going to play this season?
Besides the obvious, I don't know.
Well, I know that, but I just mean the specifics about. I'm like, I was moving in a different direction. Yes. Like, we're here for football.
yes. I hear what you're saying. And in this sort of environment, what I've loved about the team collectively is when they've been challenged, they've responded. I specifically remember a passing league game when we played San Jose State. Grant High School, who's amazing, they're playing De La Salle this weekend, literally destroyed us. They literally destroyed us. We were uncompetitive. We weren't very tough. We weren't very organized. It was really, really kind of depressing. And I'm like, okay, well, this is how the year's going to be. Okay, so I pulled the team up and I gave them, let's call it a Matt Foley motivational speech. it might have been laced with some some words that we won't repeat here right
words.
now. But like this, one of the things I'm most afraid of is an organization that's kind of entitled, and entitlement and organizations or even humans that feel like something should be given to them.
Right.
It's just foreign to me. It's foreign to me. I've always been kind of an underdog, and like overachievement for every human being should be the ultimate goal. And there's ups and downs in everyone's life, but hey, I'm a Sarah football player, therefore I should get.
Right.
I am so afraid of that this year. I hate that. And that's the one thing that I'm just, like I said, I'm okay if the scoreboard is 50-0, as long as it's the right 50-0.
Right.
Like we're working
hard.
we're doing our things, we're being the best we can be. All those sort of things, is what I'm most afraid of. Is and you're right. Year 24, right? So year 1 laid a foundation. Year 2 made another statement, right? We won the WCAL in year 2, and year 3 and year 4, so on and so forth. And everyone's laid some sort of foundation and a standard here at Sarah. And it's grown over 2 decades now, almost 2.5 decades.
Right.
With that comes responsibility and also some entitlement stuff. We're a new Nike elite school, which we're about to talk about.
Exactly.
And I'll explain what that means. And there's a lot of cool things that you get when you're a Sarah football player. But did this team earn that? No, they didn't. And that's not their fault either. Like, I'm not going to be that guy that actually blames them for that. I mean, everything that's happened in the last, 24 years is because of wonderful, young, exuberant teenagers that fell in love with each other and the school and football. And we've done amazing things. Sure. And it's not their fault. But the page is turned. And I know Folsom doesn't care about any of that. De La Salle doesn't care about any of that. As a matter of fact, they're going to use that against us.
I was going to say, I think it's quite the opposite.
It's
People
quite
are
the
gunning
opposite. That's
for
correct.
Sarah at
That's
this
right.
point.
Absolutely. And so that's one of the things that I'm this whole kind of entitlement thing just creeps in my head. And like, I just can't allow that. It's not the right lesson to teach kids that because of this, they get this. It's like, no, because of how you worked, you earned this.
Right.
And that's really at the forefront of everything we're doing.
Great. No, and I think that, and to combat that for the years that you've been here, the 24 years, you've done chapel too, and that's another, kind of combating or maintaining the humility,
That's
creating, establishing.
Yes.
So I think that's cool. And you guys, have you had your first chapel yet?
No, first one will be Thursday.
Very cool. Right before the first game.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, you if you look behind us, that we've got Nike swooshes now branded our stadium. Can you tell us a little bit about what it means to be a Nike elite football program?
Yeah, it's a great honor. It's pretty humbling actually, because there's only 4 of them in the state of California, and I think just around 30 in the entire country.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's and we're an elite company. We earn this. This is not something like we've earned it. The kids have earned it. The coaches have earned it. It's something that it's a real blessing to be mentioned in the same elite programs like De La Salle and Mater Dei and St. John Bosco and St. Edward in Ohio and John Curtis in Louisiana, and I can go on and on just because I've met a bunch of these guys, and it's a really, really cool thing for me. It's a cool program to be a part of. We went to Disney World, which, by the way, well, I don't want to talk about Disneyland, but we went to Disney World and we had a really good time together.
Awesome.
Got to share a lot of ideas about building championship programs.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool thing. And, Nike wants swooshes everywhere. So they give us a lot of stuff.
That's great.
We get 100 pairs of shoes every January. We get 100 pairs of shorts, 100 shirts for workouts. We get gloves and the sleeves and what I call the dig me stuff, all the things to make us look cool, which is part of the deal now. It's not, I don't want to be the old school guy, but we got uniforms. We get 3 new uniforms in the next 4 years.
So cool.
Cleats. I mean, they kind of, it's really cool. We haven't had to pay for anything. Nike's been very, very good to us. I'm very blessed that they chose us to be a part of this great program.
And Nike apparel is, the best, right? So it's pretty nice to belong to to have the organization backing you that's like the best in its class, right? So that's great. And we're going to be probably rolling out a lot more on this announcement too, because it's a really big deal for Sarah High School. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonderful. Well, is there anything that you want to talk about with the upcoming game, or you just want to?
Yeah. Sure. I think I like thinking in I think people that get to know me by now, I think kind of dark in a way, but super, like ultimately we can see the light. So I try to think about all the things that can go wrong. One of the things that went wrong last time we played Folsom was our entire team cramped.
Oh my gosh, I remember that. They dropped like flies.
We were dropping like flies, like we had never conditioned before. And we condition, I think, as much as anyone around here. And I think we do a great job. But I did not prepare the team at all for that. I really didn't. I didn't have a plan. I mean, I remember when we got there, we didn't have water there. Like, it was just dumb. And that's on me. And so as I think of Friday night and things that we've been through already, we've already been to Folsom. It's a long trip, 2.5, 3 hours on a bus, just being hydrated and doing the things that we can do to make our kids in position to not fall down on the field when we need them the most.
Right.
Luckily Seamus limped back out there on the field as Folsom was about to tie the game, and he ripped the ball out and all sorts of heroic stuff.
That was a good game.
It was a great game.
It was really good. 17-12, I think, was the final score.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, we took a safety there at the end. But I think for sports fans, for Northern California football, this is what it's all about. I mean, this is the game that people want to see, and it has been that way for the last 2 years.
Definitely.
Folsom, Sarah, Folsom, De La Salle, Sarah, like these are games that people want to see, and I think it's a great preseason tune-up. We do not scrimmage here at Sarah, so we're literally the first snap that we've ever had is going to be in a live situation, and that's okay. That's something that I've chose to do the last 7 or 8 years, is to not have a scrimmage, and that's because I just at one point I woke up in the morning or at some point in my life and I said, man, if I lose one person in the scrimmage,
right.
Is that worth it? Like, so we can know and whatever. Like, let's do it for real. Football is a very violent game.
It is.
And so that's always been my philosophy, and it's worked out for us. And this year though, I'm like, man, I've got such an inexperienced team. Maybe I should have scrimmaged. But the philosophy still remains the same. We lost 0 kids in the scrimmage this year because we didn't scrimmage. So there's a lot of themes in my head, a lot of things can go wrong. Are we going to cramp all night? Are we not going to be tough? Are we going to be in the wrong gaps? Number 3 is going to be amazing. He's just amazing. They have great talent all around them. They have a great offensive line, probably the best offensive line I've seen from Folsom since we've been playing them. Defensive line is stout and tough and physical. Their special teams is solid. They beat a perennial state high level team by a lot of points last week in Long Beach Poly. So
yeah, I saw that.
And Long Beach Poly turned over a lot of kids last year. So we're in a similar situation. So we're gonna go up there and we're gonna be as Padres as we can be. I'm gonna tell you that. That's again, measuring stick for me has always been in those roots. Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm looking for. And if we fail on that front, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Right.
If we fail on the scoreboard, I may or may not be disappointed.
Depending on how they play.
Correct. Yeah. So
That's
that's my synopsis of the game. I'm sorry I can't do anything better than that.
No, I love it. I was just wondering because I know that, like I said, everybody's asking me the same thing. It's like, what does a team look like? I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I know that they're a great group of Padres, great boys, dedicated. Yes. I did hear that they were super jazzed about Dawn Patrol. They were here on time. They were, coalescing as a team quite early in the season. And
I would say for those that are psychologists or sports psychologists or people who work with kids that are watching this, like something unique about our morning workouts was the level of focus was so high at 6 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
And you would think they're sleepy, but I was thinking there's no distractions at 6 a.m. And you're not getting text all day and you're watching YouTube and Instagram and all that stuff. Like the level of focus was way higher. And I think there's just no distractions. It was really interesting.
And there's just fresh in the day, haven't experienced a long drawn out school day or whatever.
The guys said, look, it was hard at 5:30 in the morning getting here, but now I feel great. This is awesome. Great. So, anyway, there's a lot of newness here at Sarah.
That's
a lot
great.
of new things, we have new uniforms. We have a new team. We have kind of a new summer leading into this. So let's see how it unfolds on Friday night against the Bulldogs.
It's going to be great. And like you just said a minute ago, just when you listed some of the teams that we play, we are so lucky to be able to play with such talented teams nearby. 3 hours, but still.
Yeah.
But it's going to be great. Well, I so appreciate your time, Coach, and go Padres. It's going to be a great game. 7:30 on Friday night in Folsom. Mm-hmm. And tickets are going to be through GoFan. So that link should be alive on our website soon. So go Padres. Thank you.
Thank you.